Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is the latest video in my Decan walk, and this is all about the Four of Swords and runs from the 13th to the 22nd of October. If this video is a little bit jittery, then I apologise in advance, but I am still coughing, but I'm determined to get this video done, because if I give in and lay down and give in to this cough, well, when I lie down I start coughing, so that's not going to work, is it? But yeah, if I don't, I'm just going to end up too far behind on my Decan walk, and I really don't want that to happen. So I've decided to have a go and see if I can get through it without too much difficulty. I am at the end of this, hopefully at the end of this. I'm not, I haven't got a cold or anything, it's just this cough, which is what the whole thing started with and made me have to rest, really. But I've still been studying because that's the way I like to do things. I like to study. Anyway, let's get back to our Four of Swords. And in the Crystal Magic Tarot, which is the one that I've been using all the way through for the crystal associations, we have Amber. And I've got my beautiful pendant here. I love this one. Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah, so that's for the Four of Swords. We've still got Sapphire because it's Justice, and I'm about to cough again. Hold on. And for the Wheel of Fortune, we've got Serpentine, which I have used in another video, and at the moment it's decided to do a disappearing act. It's around here somewhere and I can't lay my hands on it, but I'll put a picture of some Serpentine up above here. So we talk about the astrology first, so I'm going to use this time the Star Codes Astro Oracle because it's pretty. So let's have a look at the cards that go along with this Decan. So we have Libra, which is Justice, Jupiter for the Wheel of Fortune, and also, because Libra is ruled by Venus, I got the Venus card out as well. And I thought, if we put these keywords together, I think I've done this before actually, we can make a sentence that we can say, oh, abundance, balanced, beloved. So beloved, balance your abundance. Which I think sort of fits well really, doesn't it, with the Four of Swords. That's, a bit of a rest and stop striving for everything that's available, and just rest, get back into balance. And that's a nurturing thing to do for yourself, which is Venus, isn't it? Just nurture yourself really, and in order to nurture yourself, then I think rest is the best recipe for the fruits of our mind. So if we look next at the Tree of Life with my lovely Tree of Life Oracle, I'm really enjoying this deck by David Wells, adding that extra dimension, so that we can actually see the Tree of Life in context and not as an abstract. Here's a map of that Tree of Life there. And we're in Hesed, in Yetzirah. So Hesed is on the pillar of mercy. So this is this pillar here. And we're here. So you can see that Jupiter is the ruling planet of Hesed. And we've got a shield here. So we're not fighting now. We're actually protecting ourselves on this pillar, because we have a shield to protect ourselves. So once again, that really does align with the message of the card, self-protection. And we have Justice or adjustment is on the 22nd path, and this is karmic adjustment, balance and objectivity, because I think objectivity is a really good keyword for this card. The Wheel of Fortune is fortune, quest and abundance, and as we can see, we're on a different part of the wheel now. I think, we're not climbing up to try and achieve something, we're resting. Then we have Hesed itself, which is mercy. And again, we've got abundance, but we've got gratitude and big ideas for Jupiter, because it's a very expansive energy, Jupiter. And then the element of air for swords, which is thoughts, mind and communication. Beautiful cards. So that's where we are on the Tree of Life. So in the guidebook for Hesed, it says number 4 on the Tree of Life, Hesed is where you meet the Lords of Peace. Jupiter is the planet here, a planet of abundance and wisdom. So I think here we're talking about wisdom, aren't we? We're being wise. And of course the number 4 itself is a very stable number, isn't it? And yet Sira is the world of intellect as well, because we're talking about the air element. So as I said, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and if we look at the Thoth card here, we can see that expansion. Everything's expanding outwards here. That rose in the centre is actually in full bloom, so expanded out. And also it's a double Jupiter, because Jupiter is aligned to Hesed as well as to the Wheel of Fortune. So we've got a really big Jupiter influence here. But if we look at the Wheel of Fortune, we know that this is, this situation has been out of our control, because the Wheel of Fortune does what the Wheel of Fortune does. It's fate. There's no point in struggling against it. There's no point in being active. It's just trusting, really. Trusting and having faith in what is happening for the best. And if we actually look here in the stained glass window, that apparently is Jesus performing his miracles. And we've got a portal there. I don't know if you can see that archway. It's sort of like a portal. A window itself can be seen as a portal to another world. And here we are laying down, maybe meditating, maybe praying to the deity, maybe just letting things be what they're going to be. We can't control this Wheel of Fortune at all. And some people think this is all about karma as well, because we've got the Justice card. And of course, justice is about relationships, isn't it? So maybe this is also about healing our relationships. And just, if we've had an argument, if we've been in the 3 of Swords or the 5 of Swords, which are both quite contentious cards, then maybe we need time out to heal those relationships, to look at things differently. Which I think, actually, I've got here the Wildwood Tarot. And if you look at this card, it almost seems like a forced rest here. These arrows are keeping this person in place. They can't get up. But in doing so, there's a transformation. There's a point to it. It's not just lying there doing nothing. This is all about transformation, which I think is beautiful. Beautiful butterfly there. But that is the whole point of this card, really, is to transform your thinking, because it's swords, or in this case arrows. So it's all about the mind. So transforming the way we're thinking about things in order to be able to move forward. And Jupiter is about, because it's expansive, it's about seeing the big picture, isn't it? Both the ups and downs. We have Jupiter is expanding the mind. Maybe the mind has been overstimulated. I mean, if you look in the background of the Thoth card and see all those pinwheels, or maybe there's a lot of excitement going on in the back of that card, and we need to still that energy down. I mean, on the wheel here, we've got a lot of energy going on as well, haven't we? Lots of energy in the background there. And maybe we just need, because we've got the swords are on top there, and the expansion is on top. So maybe that can override all that excitement, all that excited energy in the background there. Green, that's Venus. That's attributed to Venus. So again, we've got the ruling planet for justice. So maybe we can, you know, find peace from the chaos. And 4 is a safe number, isn't it? It's like, you know, a house has 4 walls and will keep us secure. So there's a whole thing about feeling safe. You know, in order to actually relax this deeply, we need to be able to feel safe, don't we? We need to be able to be in the eye of the storm, get some temporary refuge from whatever the situation is. I mean, this is a knight here. It's an effigy of a knight. So maybe well, here in Thoth, it's truce. So that brings us back to thinking about warfare, which is quite high on the agenda at the moment, isn't it? I think it's Crowley that says something about the soldiers going back to the barracks to rest before the next battle. And even if you think about World War I, when they played football, was it on Christmas Day? I think it was on Christmas Day, and they all put down their weapons and gathered together, each side, the Germans and the English, and they, or the British, and they played football. What beautiful truce. And then the next day took their arms up and started killing each other again, which is, I don't know, I don't agree with war. But anyway, that's another subject, isn't it? But yeah, so truce is a surface calm. It's not going to last. It's a temporary situation. It's a temporary refuge. If we think about feeling safe, that whole wanting to feel safe enough to actually be able to rest in this, I always think, you know, when there's trouble, when we're feeling we need help or we need respite, and I think we think about, or we tend to gravitate towards the idea of mother. Now that doesn't necessarily mean our own mother, but the archetype of mother, you know, a mother will hold us while we're going, you know, if we're going through this 3 of Swords, which I talked about last time. Then let's find the 4, because this is what we need. I've got the little tin version here just for convenience sake. But yeah, the nest. I think we need to feel that we can take our heart that's been troubled here and protect it in this nest here. It's a beautiful, beautiful image, that. And I love the way, I don't know if you can see it, but the way the hair here almost becomes part of the twigs. It's a beautiful image. But yes, to actually feel safe, to actually feel held. And that's what therapists do, isn't it? They hold the space for us so we can actually find some enlightenment out of a situation we find ourselves in. I'm hoping the light holds out here, you know, because it's getting dark, it keeps raining. I don't know if you know, but here in the UK we're having floods. It's been some very challenging weather, shall we say. I like looking at different decks when I'm doing these videos. And I was looking at this one here, which is here, Tarot Nuages. I love this deck. It's so different. However, this is the 4 of Swords. And here we can see that this figure is resting, but protected. So, you know, I was thinking about that therapist energy or that mother energy, that someone holding space for us so that we can actually take this time. And here we've got these 4 gargoyles actually keeping vigil over this figure so that they can find that inner peace, even if it's temporary, which indeed in the 4 of Swords it is a temporary situation. So that's Tarot Nuages. And then in MJ Culline's Forhaxa Tarot, this is actually the indie version, not the mass market. I know there's a new one come out, hasn't there? A mass market one has come out, but this is the indie version. But Hay House has brought out the mass market, which looks really nice. So here we have, again, someone resting, but this time on top of a mountain. You can see there in the clouds, and I think that aligns really nice to the idea of it being about the mind, you know, air. So that's nice. But what's interesting here is this figure has shed their skin. See here. So in shedding their skin, they're becoming somebody new. Being able to use the mind in repose to actually change. And of course, the Wheel of Fortune is all about change, isn't it? So that aligns as well. It's getting awfully dark in here. I hope this camera on this phone is pretty good, actually, dealing with light, thankfully. In this deck, which is, I keep the book and the deck in the bag. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get it all out, but anyway, this is the Dreamkeepers Tarot, which is a really interesting deck. And here we've also got being able to rest here, this time in water, with guardians looking over us. So we have a black cat, we have a sickle moon, and we have a bird. And the guidebook for this deck is so good. I'll just read a little bit actually for the Four of Swords, because I thought it was not too much though, because it's the big entries in this book, which is, yeah, amazing. In the twilight, a woman lies half submerged in the forest pond, surrounded by the protection of guardian spirits. Actually, you can see them better now that's a bit closer. The trees, embedded with representations of their elemental spirits, who also stand watch. 4 black ravens, bringers of magic and symbols of a shift in consciousness. So there we go, we're shifting consciousness here. A black cat indicating courage to face the mystery. And 2 white doves, symbols of love and peace. I think of there in the background. 1 raven holds in its beak a halo, a symbol of wholeness. It's difficult to see. We have faces here, don't we? Okay. Which upon her waking will be returned to her, so her wholeness will be returned to her when she wakes. The waning cycle of the moon in this peaceful setting signifies a supportive time for repose and healing. In quiet meditation and in her stillness, she herself seems to be becoming a prayer, one perhaps to the divine masculine and divine feminine above her who watch over all. Isn't that beautiful? And there's a whole lot more to it, but yeah, that's just a little taster. So that is the Dreamkeepers Tarot by Liz Houston. Ooh, I love this deck. I'm doing quite a deep dive with it at the moment. The Lilith Tarot. How beautiful is this deck? It's so gorgeous. The backs on this, they just, oh, sparkle. So here we have a bit of a different image. We've still got this protective bird here looking down after us. And we've got a snake here. So like we saw the shedding of the snake before. Here we seem sort of boxed in. So we've got that stability of the 4 clearly here. And within this we are protected and we are held in that safe space. So that's the Lilith Tarot. And again we've got the clouds, look, for the mind. In the Sasuraibito Tarot, another one of my favourites, Stacia Burrington. This is the little traveller edition. I've got the full-size edition as well, but I like to use this one. But we have someone actually meditating and being held in space there, in place. You know, we've got the universe behind us, so our head is in spirit. I think that clearly shows that we're in spirit there, mentally, and we've risen above whatever it is that's worldly troubles, shall we say. Isn't that beautiful? So we can look, you know, we have a different perspective, don't we, when we go inside and access our own truth. You know, swords are about truth as well, aren't they? So we can access our own truth there. And then in the Deviant Moon Tarot, I know a lot of people don't like this deck, but I think it's amazing. Here we have someone actually, it looks like they're buried underground. Here we go. And at first glance that doesn't look very nice, does it? But start to break that down and we can see what's happening. This time of year is when we tend to access our subconscious a little bit more, I think. You know, we like our darker decks, don't we, this time of year? And I think this illustrates it really well, because here, if we think of the subconscious, of going underground, you know, Persephone joining Hades for the dark season and becoming queen of the underworld. Here we can let the subconscious take charge here and be able to access parts of our psyche that we can't access in the waking world. So here we've got our little moon again to show that we're in the subconscious, we're not involving ourselves with the daytime part of our lives. We're going deep. We're going really deep here, and we're accessing those parts of ourselves that will help us to illuminate what it is that's troubling us, maybe. And you can see these little sparks of light coming here from the hair. So, you know, if we sort of think about other parts of our brain that we don't use, you know, we only use 10% of our brain apparently. And when we're sleeping, when we're in repose, you know, when we're shutting ourselves off from the world, because this is stone here, isn't it? You know, it's not actively interacting with the world. It's closed right down and protected. The armour is protecting them there. And here, the subconscious is, you know, protecting us, if you like. I mean, we can see the marker where this figure is. And maybe this is what brought us down into the subconscious, those 3 swords that we had to deal with in the last Decan, has caused us to actually need to re-examine our subconscious in a safe space. So we're not buried dead here. We're not, you know, this is a resting phase. This is going down into our subconscious, you know, doing what Persephone myth tells us and accessing our deeper self. Amazing. I think Patrick Valenza is just a genius. My opinion. Anyway, I worked with Darkwood last year, I think it was, for quite some time, and found it to be a really illuminating deck. It's an absolutely fantastic deck. I will actually show you from the guidebook, I think, because the pictures are bigger. In the book they call the Four of Swords Happily Never After. And here we've got what looks like danger, really. So we've still got the 3 swords here above, they're hanging by a thread. But we've got someone that looks like they don't mean as well. And our figure here, although looks like they're asleep, has actually got the 4th sword in their hand. So they can defend themselves if they're under attack. So I think it's quite interesting, really. In the meaning it says a need for new stories and unique ideas. So yeah, it's the same sort of meaning, just what you know instead of what you see. And it says 4 is the number of stability, yes, swords are the suit of the mind. So it's the calmness and quiet that we enjoy when mentally balanced. And of course we weren't mentally balanced in the 3, and we're definitely not mentally balanced in the 5. So the mind is an ebb and flow of thought, realisation, logic and knowledge. And of course if the mind is overactive, then we're not going to be able to think clearly, are we? You know, if the in the background to the Thoth card, if our mind is like overstimulated, then there's no way we can actually make clear decisions. So I thought we'd look at Hilda because you know, we need a bit of lightness here, don't we? And look at Hilda. Isn't that wonderful? It's like my heart. She looks so content there. Yeah, she's got some crackers, I think, and some jam maybe. I'm not quite sure what that is, but yeah, she looks completely at rest, completely safe, you know, in a totally safe space there. She's a little bit different to the Darkwood when you see that figure looming over them. But I think that's the shadow aspect to it, that thinking that, you know, there's always somebody out to get us, even if there isn't. Our mind is overactive and thinking that we're not safe. So we need this safe space. We need to be able to lay down our arms and open ourselves up to a different way of thinking. You know, this ace here, so if that was the Three of Swords that we were dealing with, and then we've got the ace here, the Ace of Justice, where we can actually see the truth. And it's supporting the figure here, so it's supporting us while we try to find the truth of the situation. And here the points of the sword are actually sheathed in the rose, so they are not there to attack. They're actually defending that rose, defending the expansion of Jupiter and our need to actually rest and find connections in our mind by expanding our world with Jupiter. So as we saw in the Lilith Tarot here, we need to shut out the world and listen to ourselves, listen to our own inner knowing. So I was reading from Phantasmagoria, which is the Tarot of Vampyres in Daniels, and the Wheel of Fortune. And I thought it really applied as well to the Four of Swords, because it says, often a positive breakthrough or a sudden realisation greatly alters our perspective of the matter in hand. And so I think that really aligns actually to the Four of Swords. This is the Four of Knives in the Tarot of Vampyres. Have been renamed the suits. And one of the key words of the Wheel of Fortune in this deck is faith. And again, so we're having faith here, faith in communion with deity in order to help us. And also it says, again for the Wheel of Fortune, while the cosmic wheel is in perpetual motion, it should be noted that the very centre remains static. And that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? We're trying to become static and become the eye of the storm and let the chaos go on around us while we're at the hub of the wheel here. So what does it actually say about the Four of Knives itself? Because it's a completely different sort of image, isn't it, for the Four of Knives? We see a lady who has fled from a vampire. She looks back over her shoulder to be sure the threat has gone. So again, we've got that threat that we had in the Wildwood Tarot, haven't we? So reflecting on her ordeal, she has escaped to the sanctuary of a churchyard where she holds onto a statue for support. So instead of lying down, she's now actually standing up with a statue. The position of her hand against that of the statue symbolises prayer. So we've got the prayer position here, which is an important component of this card. The statue is a symbol of our holy guardian angel, or our higher self, which represents a need for us to seek inner sanctuary and guidance. So that's Ian Daniels' Phantasmagoria, the Tarot of Vampyres. Obviously there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, just a little synopsis of this card. And it also tells us that that blood on the dress there is not her own blood. So there's a whole story behind this card as well. And as we see here, we are communing with our higher self because this effigy is in prayer position. So speaking to their higher self, which here is represented by Jesus, who's giving out aid. And maybe this figure here in prayer, their higher self there, is asking for that aid from deity, whatever that deity is. I mean, this is a very Christianized deck, isn't it? So here it's Jesus, but whatever your deity is, or your higher self or spirit, or whatever you want to call it, you know, whatever you connect to in meditation. We need to isolate ourselves from reality in order to quiet that overstimulation. And maybe that is by going to a therapist or connecting to the archetypal mother energy and feeling safe. Need to slow down to gain clarity, really, to see things from both points of view, and to have faith that no situation is static, because the Wheel of Fortune is always changing. And even if we find ourselves in troubled times, know that, you know, ups and downs do happen in life, and like I say, the wheel keeps turning. So one day we're up, one day we're down, but just to, you know, take some time out and get some clarity in whatever the situation is. And I think these two cards really do support that. So let's now have a look at the Crystal Magic Tarot for Amber and how Amber can help us in this situation. So, as I said, we have Sapphire for Justice, which we have for the last three cards. We've got the Sun and the Moon on either side there. Pretty. Then we have Serpentine for the Wheel of Fortune, and Amber for the Four of Swords. And again, we're in meditation pose, and we are surrounded by the four swords that are protecting us. And again, we've got some beautiful energy in the hands there, like a star and some sort of web, world web. We have a lotus, so very much in a meditation pose. Okay, so let's see how the Amber is going to help us according to Kerry Ward and Claire Gregory of the Crystal Magic Tarot. So Amber is not actually a crystal, is it? We sometimes get insects trapped in amber as well, but it's solidified tree sap from the wood. It's beautiful, isn't it? It says it's a pine tree resin that has been sea smoothed by rushing tides for millions of years. Amber is a master healer, a magical, wise treasure of the earth and the sea. Amber brings warm, gentle vitality to the immune system and lends its bright, sunny energy to the mind, lifting depression and promoting a positive mental attitude. When you feel that you need the kind of mind-quietening serenity that only a silent forest can provide, let Amber be a talisman of that healing woodland magic and refill your cup with its honey-like glow. And isn't it interesting that with this cough, I've been actually using Manuka honey. I'll just get out of the cup actually. Yeah, I've been using some Manuka honey for amber energy, really, for my throat, for my chest, and cinnamon as well, actually. So by the by, yeah, soothing energy, and I've needed it. I need some rest, really, because I need some rest from this awful coughing. It seems to be prevalent at the moment. Everybody seems to have it, especially in Cornwall, and everywhere I go it's like people are coughing, and it really hurts. Hurts to cough, but yeah, hopefully Amber and Manuka honey is going to help, and hopefully it won't last too much longer, because now, where am I? 18 days I've had this, and I'd like it to go away now, please, because I'm fed up of coughing. Anyway, enough of my woes. That's been the Four of Swords and Amber, with the associated major cards, Wheel of Fortune and Justice, and I'm about to cough again. So I'll leave it there for now, and until the next time, thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, friends, bye for now.